People who quit a job on the first day. What happened? After some years working in 5-star hotels, I got it in my head that I wanted to work somewhere where I myself would like to be a guest. I somehow thought the atmosphere would be so much nicer and friendlier. After so much time I thought I had a stomach of steel and that nothing would faze me. I found a job in a super cute tiny little bistro. They served lunch and you could buy artisan cheese, handmade pasta and stuff. Everything was nice until I had to go in the storage room for something. Let me just say it was the most disgusting experience of my life. I took my stuff and said bye. When I was a teenager and needed some spending money, I saw an ad for a warehouse that needed boxes moved. It was minimum wage, but I could work for a few days and get some real cash in my jeans pocket. Well, they wanted me to haul fiberglass insulation around. I waited until the guy finished giving instructions on how to do the job, and as soon as he was out the door I wasn't far behind. I had done construction work a couple summers before and had to staple that shit up between 2x4s. You couldn't pay me enough to work with that stuff again, and they were going to trick me for minimum. I worked at Home Bargains and did my first shift on a Saturday. I was off on the Sunday originally, and they waited until 11 p.m. on the Saturday to call me and not ask me but tell me to cover a Sunday, but the conversation went as followed. "Hey, we've changed the rota and you're working tomorrow 8 a.m. 5 p.m. I was busy on a Sunday as I had family commitments since I assumed I was free being my day off. "Oh, I can't work tomorrow, I have plans." "Well, that will go down as an unauthorized absence if you don't turn up." "Alright then, I quit." "What?" I then hung up and never went back. Like 20 years ago I applied for a position up etc. First day the manager runs me quickly through morning duties. Then hands me the keys to the safe, the front doors etc. and just leaves. He was meeting a girl for a lunch date. I was not trained on cash or anything. The only other person in the building also grabbed a jacket and left. I locked up and slipped the keys in the overnight box. Never looked back. Company went out of business. I did call the SPCA about the cats etc. left in store and how it was my first and last day. I had an interview at Payless and was hired the same day, and then was asked to stay to start some online training which I felt like I couldn't say no to, so I did. I was supposed to come back a few days later to do more training, but she called me the next day asking me to come in because someone called out. I panicked when plans change and a last-minute phone call to come to work does not work for me. I said I was busy and texted her later that day that I wouldn't be taking the job. I was too young right after graduation. It was my first job interview in my life. The interview were done in a food court at a mall, and I got accepted right off the bat and will start the next working day. I came for the first day, and sent a resignation email right next day. Since I didn't get my acceptance letter yet, I don't have any problem. I got too scared that it all happened too fast. When I was around 14 I worked for Dickie D Ice Cream, think Canadian good humor, for one day riding a bicycle cooler. You were paid a commission based on what you sold, but you had to pay for your dry ice. Long story short, you had to ride the thing all day in blazing heat to make virtually no money. This was in the mid-80s, I hope this is illegal now. It was the second day on the job, not the first, but close enough. I had left another job to go to this new company with the promise that I wouldn't have to stay late. I was told I would be working basically a 9-5, which I was perfectly happy with. That day I didn't get off until 10 p.m. I texted my boss as I got off and said they wouldn't be seeing me again. It was a split shift, 2-hour lunch, 2-hour break, then 4-hour dinner service. The entire lunch shift the owner sat in a corner table and would yell demands, "Go fill water," etc. I was already planning to do. Then he told me after shift started that the tips are pooled with all staff including him. So I never showed up for the dinner service. My wife got a job selling art. She was supposed to show up Monday morning at 9. She did, and noticed that everyone in the office was drinking beer. At 9 on a Monday. She then found out that she was going to be cold walking into offices to see if they wanted to buy their shitty paintings. Which were actually prints. She walked out after an hour. Worked for a pain management clinic. They didn't let me take a lunch or any type of break, told me I couldn't wear protection in the X-ray room because that was only for patients and the doctor, and then told me that a lot of the time the doctor is out so I could just write out the scripts and forge his signature. Obviously I didn't go back. I got a job at a call center which I thought was 411. When they had us answer the phone, we had to say, "Hello, this is 411 directory assistant." Turned out the direct assistance part was included in their company name and had nothing to do with the 411 we all know. Got gaslighted into working for a literal scam. I was on my last day of training as a caretaker for individuals with special needs. I am a 110 pounds woman. After training when I was due to start the next day, they informed me my patient would be a 200 pounds man who sometimes acts out and gets physical. Blocked their number and never came back. Lol. I was hired as a cook at a Huddle House. On my first day I learned that they lied about which shifts I'd have in the interview. I'd be expected to basically run the restaurant alone on graveyard shifts after only a week of training, and this place was violating health codes left and right. Started at a cardboard packaging warehouse. 8-hour shifts with 0 breaks from standing except for lunch. All my co-workers spoke broken English, break room was a disaster and filthy, and the toilet had a hole on the inside that would shoot water almost out of the bowl when flushed. Nothing low, I was better for it. When I was 17 or 18 I got hired at a Michael's craft store. My first day, they gave me 3 carts of Reshop to restock throughout the store. I had no idea where anything went. One day was enough. Lol, damn, I've come a long way since then. I was like 19, got a job at a coffee shop, went out the night before my first shift. Got effing hammered. Slept like 4 hours, went to work and puked up a bunch of times in the bathroom. I figured they could handle this without me. Clocked out and went home. Landscaping guy wanted me to do cold calling of customers who all had bad experiences and try to convince them to pay for services they didn't need or have, like aerating a zero-scaped lawn. He also wanted me to do all of his accounting and Quicken. Joined small companies in IT tech. Within minutes of starting, I'm handed a list of local companies and their phone numbers and told to call, speak to whoever looks after their IT, and get them a catalog sent. Lasted until lunchtime. Turned out the company was not registered business and has no license to operate. They also threatened us we'd have to pay them an amount if we quit during the 60-day training period. Few months later, they were shut down. In high school I got a job at KFC. I had to wear a polyester uniform which was hot AF, and the manager was an ex-Marine who was a real prick who wanted to run KFC like the military. That was just a nope for me. Smiley face. I had a heat stroke my first day of caddying and ended up standing still in a fugue state directly in front of one of the golfers about to take a drive. They told me to leave. I just never went back after that. Not me. A new hire spent 7 minutes on the very hot and stinky poultry house roof. Got a fly up their nose, there were millions, puked, got in their truck and left. Never seen again. Data entry. I was temping and I had specifically said no data entry. The second assignment I got was all only data entry. I'm dyslexic, me doing data entry is bad for everyone. Was sorting at a recycling center. They had no dust masks and I could not breathe. I left to go to the hospital when they would not call for medical help. Never came back. Second day, sweating my ass off in the kitchen on a hot summer day. Asked for a glass of water and the owner made me pay for it. Finished my shift and never went back. I immediately found a better one. I'd much rather count pills in a pharmacy than get in and out of an Amazon van that's probably never had an oil change. It was my 16th birthday and working 12 till 8 in a bakery was in for me. In retrospect, should have stuck with it, even though I'm gluten intolerant now. Joanna's Fabrics first day, an old lady slapped me for cutting her fabric too slow. I was like, peace. This isn't the job for me. I was hired by a doctor as an admin. She told me she'd pay me $28 per day. I said I'm going to get lunch and never went back.